In this video, I'll be reacting to another one of Not Just Bikes' videos. Last week, I reacted to why Dutch people aren't really cyclists, and today I'll be reacting to why Dutch bikes are better. So, let's find out why.
This is our Dutch bicycle. It's an oma fiets, literally grandma bicycle. There is really nothing special about it, at least here in the Netherlands. But in Canada, the US, or many other countries, this bike would be very unique indeed, and bicycles like this one really surprised me the first time I visited the Netherlands. There's a good reason for this uniqueness. In the Netherlands, bicycles are seen as a tool for everyday transportation, a way to get from point A to point B quickly and efficiently.
So, just like what basically the last video was about, or the last one of his that I reacted to.
In most other countries, bicycles are used
And if you haven't seen that one, by the way, then go check that one out as well if you like this video.
primarily for sport and exercise. This one difference explains nearly everything special about a bike like this. Now, it's not like this is the only kind of bicycle you'll see in the Netherlands, of course. There are many others, including e-bikes, cargo bikes, hand cycles, and you'll definitely see road bikes used for sport too, especially on weekends. But for everyday
And fat bikes nowadays. The fat bikes are a whole thing now. If you don't know what they are, I'll put a picture on the screen. But yeah, they have these really big, what do you call them? Wheels. And yeah, there's a whole stigma around them, but that's another discussion for another day.
urban transportation, this style of bicycle is by far the most common. So what makes this bicycle so different from what you might be used to? Well, the primary difference is that this is an upright bicycle. It's built to ride in an upright sitting position. This is an inefficient position that will not transmit maximum power into the crank during a pedal stroke, plus it's totally not aero. But who cares? What the upright position does provide is comfort. The handlebars on this bicycle are high up and swept back, making it extremely comfortable to ride. On this kind of bicycle, you almost pull up and back on the handlebars rather than putting any weight on them. This is just a more comfortable way to sit on a bicycle.
Yeah, especially when you have like neck pain, which I do. When I ride like another type of bicycle where you have to sit more like this, I don't know if you can see, but you're like bent over. It puts a strain on my neck usually, and it is a lot more uncomfortable to ride, but it can be useful for other purposes, of course.
And the design is very similar to the original safety bicycle developed in the UK in the late 19th century. Sitting upright also makes it easier to see what's going on around you, which can be safer when cycling in busy urban environments with lots of other people around. Riding this way lets you wear any type of clothing you'd like because it's no different than sitting in a chair, which is why you see most people in the Netherlands dressed for the destination and not the ride. This bicycle has a step-through frame, meaning that you can get on and off it very easily without having to swing your leg around like you do on a bike like this with a crossbar.
Those bikes, I don't know why they're made. What are they useful for? Why is there a bar? And why is it a man's bike? Because I feel like for men as well, like I can see maybe back in the day it was a man's bike because women often wore skirts or dresses and it made it impractical. But then it's like for men, it's also really impractical if they hit some body part of their on there, which I actually once, when I was in the US with my boyfriend, we were biking and they didn't have oma fietsen. So I rode a bike like that, like a men's bike with the bar. And I had to stop unexpectedly one time, and I could not stop fast enough, and I just hit that bar, and I've never been the same since. So if someone can explain to me why those bikes are still out there, then let me know.
Frames are fine and you'll definitely see them here, but I find them particularly annoying if you have a kid seat because if you swing your leg up to get on, you kick your kid in the head. And I don't understand why we still call these men's bikes when it's the only kind you can hit your nuts on.
Exactly.
Because step-through frames are more comfortable to use, they're increasingly popular for both men and women. This is another thing that contributes to people wearing normal clothes when cycling, and why you'll even see women wearing dresses and skirts. Speaking of skirts, this thing is called a skirt guard or coat guard, and it's quite common on Dutch bicycles. It prevents
Now that he brings it up, yeah, I didn't see it anywhere else, I think. Also not in Spain, where they had the Valambisis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's basically these bikes that they have all around the city, and you can just rent them. Like they'll have them in racks, and you use your phone to get one off, and then when you're done using it, you just need to bring it to another place where you can put it back in a rack. But those bikes, I don't think they had that either. And they were really, really heavy for some reason. I don't know why that was, but the frame was just this thick metal or something. And that was, yeah, even heavier than some bikes in the Netherlands can be.
long articles of clothing from getting stuck in the spokes as you ride. It also helps prevent a child sitting on the back from getting their foot stuck. Another thing to protect your clothing is the chain guard, a plastic or metal cover over the bicycle chain. It also helps to protect the chain from the elements, making it last longer. This thing here is called a frame lock, and almost every bicycle in the Netherlands has one.
That's something that completely shook my boyfriend when he saw a Dutch bike for the first time. He was like, can't they just steal the bike? And I guess it happens, but I personally never had it happen to me because I would use the lock like this without any other lock that you like wrap around and tie it to a pole or something. And yeah, it never happened to me, but I can see how if you're not used to it, that might be something that you're like, what? Like, why do you not have more protection? But
these are incredibly convenient for so many reasons, but I've almost never seen them outside of the Netherlands, Denmark, and Japan. They are an easy way to lock the back wheel of your bicycle for quick stops, which makes it really, really easy to pop into a shop when riding somewhere. The frame lock also keeps your key inside as you ride. You can actually buy frame locks that don't do this, but I really like the key retaining feature. This is a small detail, but it ensures that your bike keys are always with you. That being said, I have been known to accidentally hit the key with my leg and bend it like this. Oops.
I didn't know that was possible. That never happened to me. You must have had it over. Whoa. You must have hit it really hard.
Also, while there's a lot of space for the locking mechanism in the wheel, I seem to hit the spoke far more often than you'd think. I should have gone into neutrino research. When this lock is engaged, you can't ride the bicycle, but you can, of course, just pick it up and walk away with it. So if you want to ensure that your bike is still there when you return, it's best to bring a chain lock with you as well, and most people do. If you see bikes locked only like this...
Honestly, most people that I know didn't do it, but maybe that's my area thing, but I didn't see them that much, to be honest.
This, it's probably because the owner considers their bike too crappy to steal.
That's true.
A slight variation on this is a frame lock with a chain lock integrated, giving you 2 locks with 1 key. Interestingly, U-locks, by far the most common locks in North America, are not seen very often in the Netherlands. Probably because it's difficult to get close enough to something to lock to with so many other bicycles around. Another feature you'll see on almost every bicycle in the Netherlands is both front and rear fenders. This makes sense in a country where it rains all the time. Fenders are not considered an optional add-on here.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either, that not everywhere they have those. That's interesting.
Also included is a kickstand. Almost every bike comes with one.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that, and then my bike had a stand at the where the pedals are, so you'd kind of have to push it backwards, I think, and then it would stand. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not always there.
Over the fender, you'll usually find a rear rack, though some bikes have a rack on the front. Ultimately, these bicycles are meant to be useful, so having panniers at the back or a box on the front allows people to carry a surprisingly large amount of stuff. No SUV required. Rear racks in the Netherlands are also built strong enough to carry another person, which you see quite regularly. But then everything on a Dutch bicycle is heavy duty. These aren't aluminium or carbon fiber frames, they're made of solid steel. These bikes are not built for speed, they're built to last.
But I don't know why our bikes never lasted super long. For some reason, the tires would... It's more so the tires, I feel like. They would just... I don't know what you would call it. There would be a hole in it. And sometimes it was... You had to replace the whole entire frame of the tire. But usually that's the first thing that would kind of suffer. Now my bikes lasted quite longer than my brother's, I must say, but that's probably because he wasn't as careful with it.
In general, Dutch bicycles are built to be low maintenance. So when a bicycle has gears, they're often internal hub gears like this one.
If the frame here looks a little bit different, it's because I had to change out the battery of the camera. But let's go back a little bit to see what he said again.
They're built to last. In general, Dutch bicycles are built to be low maintenance. So when a bicycle has gears, they're often internal hub gears like this one. In-hub gearing is great because they almost never need maintenance. This is very different from derailleurs, which I find are constantly going out of alignment. Of course,
what's that? I don't know if I have seen that before.
Many bicycles, including this one of ours, don't have any gears at all. You might also notice that this particular bike doesn't have any handbrakes either. A lot of bikes here do have handbrakes, but this one uses coaster brakes that you engage by cycling backwards. This was fascinating to me because in Canada, you will never see brakes like this except on children's bikes.
Yeah, my first few bikes all had that, and then the last one I had the handbrakes, which I think I actually preferred the handbrakes because you can twist the pedals without... Yeah, you can like twist them back. I don't know how to explain this, but when you have the... when you don't have the handbrakes and you brake with the pedals, then you have to sometimes move them when you want to get on again. And it's just less convenient to me.
I'm getting used to, but I really prefer cycling like this, as it feels so natural to pedal forward to speed up and pedal backwards to brake. By not having any handbrakes or gears, it keeps the bike simple and maintenance-free. It also avoids any cables that might accidentally get stuck on other bicycles when parking in tight places. All of this is done to keep the bicycle in good working condition, which is important when it's your primary mode of transportation. The only problem we've ever had with this bicycle is the occasional flat tire. And speaking of tires, did you know they use a different tire valve here? In the US and Canada, there are only ever two tire valves: Presta, found on road bikes, and Schrader, found on everything else. Here in the Netherlands, they use a Blitz valve. These
This is too niche for me to know about. I did not know there were different, whatever this is called.
valves have a little ball that prevents air from getting out. They're really easy to work with. In case you're curious, you can just use a regular Presta pump to fill these. Just pump it up to a high enough pressure and the valve will open automatically. Another thing you'll sometimes see on bicycles here is a dynamo. These go in the wheel hub or on the wheel and generate enough electricity to power LED lights. These are pretty nice, as you never need to worry about recharging batteries or forgetting your lights. Just another small thing that makes these bicycles simple for everyday use.
Yeah, that's something that's really useful because sometimes you might forget to turn on your light and then it's just always on and you don't need to think about it.
And lastly, the bell on this bike makes a pleasant sound. Though you hardly ever need to use your bell here, so it doesn't really matter. When we were still living in Canada, we knew about upright Dutch-style bikes and tried for years to buy one, but they were almost impossible to find. This photo sums up the situation in Canada: a selection of bicycles supposedly for commuting, with nothing but sporty hybrids and road bikes. They don't even come with a rack, fenders, or kickstand. Maybe there are more bike shops with upright bicycles today, but when we lived in Toronto, there was only one shop that sold them, and the next closest was over 50 kilometers away. Here now.
Yeah, that makes you realize how privileged we are when it comes to biking. Because I hadn't even, before I went to like other countries, I hadn't even realized that some countries just don't have these bikes. And yeah, we just get to use them every day.
Amsterdam, I can't swing a pair of clogs without hitting a dozen bicycle shops that sell functional, practical bicycles. Bicycles that are designed for transportation, not sport. One group in Winnipeg, Canada, got so frustrated trying to find practical urban bicycles that they started importing new and used bicycles from the Netherlands. They call themselves the Plain Bicycle Project, and they're regularly receiving shipping containers full of bicycles from the Netherlands. So to my Dutch viewers, when you're finished with your bike, please consider donating it to needy families in Canada. It's so great to have bicycles that aren't for sport. Bicycles whose primary function is to be there when you need it, to carry your shopping or your friend, and to be used with as little effort as possible. No special gear or costume changes required. This is a point that's often overlooked because while it's obviously important to have safe streets and cycling infrastructure, it also makes a difference to have easy access to practical, low-maintenance bicycles like this one. Living in Amsterdam, I know that when I need to go somewhere, taking a bicycle will usually be the fastest and most convenient way to get there. But it's also important to know that I won't have any problems either, because of our old, clunky, rusty, beat-up, comfortable, reliable Omafeets. I'd like to thank my support.
Yeah, like I said, it's just so easy to take things for granted. And that's why I like watching videos like this and hearing people's perspectives or traveling to other countries, is to get different views on things. And then you realize maybe, oh, we actually don't have it that bad, or these are some things that we could do to improve our country. So I think this is another example of realizing how easy they made it for us to go from point A to B with a reliable and comfortable bike.